Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Words for Life, the podcast where we look for motivation and inspiration through quotes, phrases, ideas, and people. Today, we're going to look at a quote I got from one of my friends. His name's Andrew, and the quote goes like this: Thor uses storms for power. You can too. Use your storms to grow. Now, unlike Thor, we can't really control the weather or the storms that we encounter in our lives. However, we can choose on how we deal with those storms. That is our ultimate power is the choice for how we react or just choice in general. It's one of our unique human controls, so to speak, is the power of choice. So when a storm does come your way, you kind of really boil down to two choices. You have the first choice, maybe not your first choice, but one of your choices is to avoid them, to avoid that storm, avoid that situation that's causing you stress or anxiety. Sometimes this is appropriate if you are already overwhelmed with the situations in your life and how you are currently going through those other situations. However, most of the time, avoiding them is not necessarily the best idea. As when you avoid something, it can become larger and manifest itself in other parts of your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, or things like that. And can become really unmanageable. So, avoiding it isn't always the best opportunity, but you need to weigh the cost and the risk. The other part of by avoiding those storms is you leave the chance and opportunity on the table to grow and learn from a challenging situation. By avoiding them, you're ignoring a situation where you might have been able to learn something new or change your perspective or gain new insight that you may not have had before. So these are some of the reasons why we probably don't want to avoid the storms in our lives and try and embrace them, which goes to our second option, embracing those storms and accepting the challenges that are presented before us to improve our lives and our own well-being. So part of that when you go and embrace your storms is it gives you the chance to grow and learn, kind of the opposite of avoiding them. And those challenges in your life present that opportunity. As we've said on many podcasts, experience is one of the best teachers. And by going and utilizing those storms or harnessing the power of the storms, as we said with Thorn, it allows you to learn and grow in those areas. And by embracing them, you're accepting what life has to offer you, whether it's the good things or the bad things, the opportunities to learn or the opportunities to challenge and grow yourself. But you're accepting that and not trying to really run away from it. Also, by going and accepting those storms or challenging yourself through those storms in your life, you can help build resilience. So, small amounts of stress or stress in increments is a good thing. It helps us build resilience and it helps us grow as individuals. On the other hand, chronic stress is a bad thing. When you can never really reset your baseline down to something different, you run into issues in your health, relationships, and other aspects of your life that chronic stress can lead into. So that's the important part of when you might need to actually avoid because you have situations where you've got maybe a chronic level of stress. So you need to step back from a challenge that is going to cause issues with the rest of your life. And when you go and accept those challenges and learn from them, you can actually go and share that knowledge with others so that they can grow and learn as well and maybe not have to go through the same challenges or storms that you had to go through. And by sharing your knowledge and the growth that you had, you can help others exponentially grow in their experience as well. So, I mentioned at the beginning that there are times to avoid the storms or challenges in your life. As I said, chronic stress, if you are stretched too thin, so you have too much going on and you don't have the mental capacity to go and take on more opportunities to grow in your storms. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that requires an individual evaluation of your situation. You might even ask a friend if they are looking at you and realize that maybe you are stretched too thin or you're doing too much, and they can see that frazzled look on your face and your expression, they might have good insight externally to what's going on. But ultimately, it is your own decision as to whether you feel stretched too thin or you are too overwhelmed to go and actually take on those additional challenges. The other part is you might have higher priority storms that are going on in your life right now. So that evaluation becomes very important. Hopefully, you don't have too many storms in your life, but if you do, that evaluation becomes very important. So that way you don't overwhelm yourself. So then the other half, why not to avoid? So, avoiding storms can leave a major impact on your life or those you care about on their lives. If you go and avoid storms, as I said at the beginning, they can grow and manifest into other parts of your lives that you might not have expected. And then you have additional storms that you have to deal with. So it can grow out of proportion and harder to manage and maintain a balance in your life because now you're having to constantly combat the storms that you are encountering. Another reason not to avoid is procrastination. If you're finding that you're avoiding a storm just because you'll handle it later, or you're feeling lazy, or something along those lines, you probably want to do a bit of a gut check to make sure, why am I really avoiding this? Is it because I'm fearful, which is one of the other reasons not to avoid, because oftentimes fear gets in the way of the things that we want. One of the phrases I like the most is that what we want is on the other side of fear. So, procrastination and fear are definitely not reasons to avoid challenging and embracing your storms, because fear is in your mind, you can overcome it, and oftentimes it is an unrealistic fear. It's something that's not actually going to come to fruition, but is just scaring you into not making forward progress because your body enjoys comfort and it doesn't want to be challenged. So does your mind. So move past your fear. Try and overcome your procrastination so that way you can actually go and embrace those storms. In the end, the quote, Thorm uses his storms for power. You can too. Use your storms to grow, is really meant to empower us and to use the challenges in our life to learn and grow from. Although, unlike Thorm, we can't control the storms that we encounter, or in his case, make, we do have the power of choice and how we choose to embrace those storms. If you have any feedback on this episode or would like to hear more like that or have ideas for future episodes, please let me know. Also, if you have ways that you have challenged or embraced your storms and you want to share those with me so I can share them with the world, I'll be more than happy to. You can reach out to me at attitudealtitudeacceptance@gmail.com. Would love to hear about it so that I not only can I share with others, but maybe there's something that I can learn as well from you. Also, as a reminder, I am offering life coaching services, and you can go and contact me through the contact item on the website. And that website I'll have listed in the description so that people can go and start soliciting some of my coaching services if that's something that interests you. Again, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Words for Life. I hope you'll join me on the next one. Thank you and have a great day.